John Filion, City Council.
Councillor Filion's office.
I can hear you better.
Hey, this is much better.
Yeah. Anyway, it's Gary Thompson calling. It's a public health issue, Toronto Public Health.
Okay.
And I've talked to John about it several times over the years. There's a bill in front of the legislature, Bill 105, private members bill by Natalia Kasandova. She's a registered nurse. Toronto Public Health has been teaching millions of people over the years all the signs of a respiratory emergency. The patient's in a coma, labored shallow breathing, blue-colored skin, gurgling noises, and pinpoint pupils, and then tells them to give them chest compressions. That's the signs of any of the hundreds of causes of breathing emergency, and they need air ASAP. Those signs prove your heart's beating. So Natalia, her private members bill, there was a press conference after the second reading at the legislature.
Okay.
My brother-in-law, he's an emergency physician. He's also one of John's constituents.
Yeah.
During the media interview, he said over and over again, it's rescue breathing, rescue breathing, rescue breathing. So I phoned up the staff, her staff, Natalie's staff, the MPP, and recorded the conversation. She says, yes, Gary, I know. We don't know the numbers, but errors are being made. Gary, you're saving everybody's life. And then I phoned the police department. The police department, the Ontario Chiefs of Police, have a website and instructs the people to give chest compressions only. I phoned up the police. I phoned them up years ago, in 2015, and I talked to the chief of police. He says, yeah, I know, Gary, we're going to take that website down. I told him, don't you realize that you have taught, millions of people have been taught that, and therefore police officers are being murdered and their family members. And it's causing post-traumatic stress with the police department and the fire department and EMS, because they're showing up to calls all the time. Laypersons giving chest compressions to people who are alive. It's causing post-traumatic stress. And he says, yes, I agree.
Pardon me, sir, if I could stop you for a moment.
Yeah.
With Bill 105, I understand it's the Mandatory Police Training Act.
That's right. Yeah.
Which section specifically were you speaking to as far as the first aid requirements are concerned?
Because it's the Solicitor General's is going to give the training. It's under their mandate, the Solicitor General.
Okay.
And what the chiefs of police are now teaching is murder. They've been teaching that for years. It's up on their website. Joe.
Pardon me, sir, was there a specific section within the bill that?
No, but that's just understood that the police are going to get mandatory training, and it's going to be the proper training.
Okay.
Some police departments, like Sudbury, does the proper instructions. Every police officer has their first aid already when they're a rookie cop. They have to have their first aid, and they have to keep it up. And they're showing up to calls all the time, people damaged from chest compressions they were never to receive. Because there's over 1 million people taken to the hospital per year in this province with a respiratory emergency. There's less than 15,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests. I've made deputations down there to the Board of Health many, many times. John's heard about it. And the Mayor of Toronto and the acting medical officer of health at the time, Dr. Barbara Yappi, they had a press conference and said it's rescue breathing. And John Dory says, this is what's causing people to lose their lives quite literally. Of course, you teach people all the signs that they're alive. A doctor's teaching them this. And they follow orders. But I knew it at 5 years old. If he's alive, you don't push on their heart. Gosh.
Pardon me, sir, have you spoken with John about this?
Oh, yeah, many times. Yeah. He used to sit on the Board of Health. He's heard it from other deputants, too. The people down at Moss Park, right?
Yeah.
And all that. And they've got all these safer consumption sites in this province.
Yeah.
And the nurses are given oxygen only. Because it's just like an anesthesiologist can overdose you on many different substances. The only thing keeping you alive during surgery is they ventilate you. They certainly don't pound on your heart, because your heart doesn't stop until you're brain dead from lack of oxygen. And then chest compressions only is just going to make sure you stay dead, and CPR does very little. You need advanced cardiac life support methods, a trauma team, highly trained specialists, and the prognosis is very poor because you're brain dead. That's what caused your heart to stop from a respiratory emergency. Oxygen deprivation. Anyway, you can look it all up on my Twitter. Doug Ford knows all about it. Yeah, I tried to save Rob Ford's life way back in 2013. There was a rumor that there was a video of Rob smoking crack. I went to Toronto Public Health's office and talked to the doctors. I says, well, I guess this live human study can't end till somebody kills Rob Ford if he smokes too much, drinks too much, has a diabetic coma, a stroke, or chokes on the extra gravy. The doctors at Toronto Public Health started laughing their fools' heads off. Yeah, Gary, kill the mayor. I went over and talked to Rob. Took a friend with me as a witness. Do you know what Rob's response? I told him all about it. Rob's response was, Toronto Public Health's not in my jurisdiction. I shook my head. I says, do I have to go to Montreal or Windsor to save your life? All the city councillors down there know me. God. Because so many people have made deputations. There was a doctor. The last time I made a deputation, there was a doctor who made a deputation right after me about it. He says, I'm sick of telling parents their children are dead. And then he goes on and gives a case report of a man who has 2 children and a wife, but he's permanently brain dead, needs 24/7 nursing. Lack of oxygen. And you know that Danforth shooting down that we had there last year?
Yes.
The brother of the shooter is in a permanent brain damage. He's been hospitalized, 24/7 nursing, because somebody didn't give him rescue breathing. And so I'm surmising that he was in such a distraught when he found out that his brother could have been saved if he had rescue breathing, that he picked up a gun and started shooting people. I told public health about that when I took the training back in 2011. I said, somebody's going to kill their own child and be so distraught they're going to pick up a gun and come down and shoot all your staff. Think about it. God, they're not too bright down there. Anyway.
I certainly appreciate the insight, sir.
Yeah.
And I can respect the research that you...
Well, no, it's not research. I knew it at 5 years old. Yeah, you know, the first time I took first aid was in Boy Scouts. And they stress rescue breathing in Boy Scouts and Girl Guides because their friends won't have a cardiac arrest. It doesn't happen to children. Children suffer respiratory emergencies.
Yeah. I mean, certainly, like I was a lifeguard for many years, and I do recall rescue breathing being a part of that curriculum. That was some years ago.
Yeah.
That was part of their standard at the time.
Well, it still is.
Yeah.
It still is, because if somebody's drowning, near drowned, I've resuscitated people from near drowning. Took 7 breaths and they woke up. If their heart stopped from drowning, it's because of brain damage. You've been underwater too long, oxygen deprivation. CPR, right? CPR, but the chances of survival from drowning is poor with the neurologic, with having an intact brain, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all up on my Twitter, at Gary CPR, Gary CPR. Yeah, just Google up the Twitter. It's up there. The Bill 105 with the doctors and all the medical information.
Okay, I'll be happy to find
And yeah, I even I phoned up the College of Physicians and Surgeons and told them about it. At the college says we wouldn't teach that. And I says, well, it's your PowerPoint. The College of Physicians and Surgeons has a PowerPoint which they removed earlier this year from the World Wide Web. There was a coroner's inquest that ended December 20th. Dr. Elaine DeVilla was on the stand, and a whole bunch of other people. And this is Elaine DeVilla on the stand. Well, I'm not a first aid I'm not a resuscitation expert, but I hear first aid saves lives. Ask the nurses down at Toronto Public Health. They know what to do. We have a safer consumption site. This is a doctor saying, well, ask the nurses. I don't know anything about rescue breathing. Yeah. Right. But then she put it on Doug Ford, too. On the stand, she says Doug Ford's policies are costing people their lives. Too funny. Anyway, I'm just trying to save lives because you won't be able to stop them. You'll be in a coma through injury or illness, and they got millions of people out there trained to give you chest compressions. I stood on the corner.
I understand the need for public awareness with regards to this issue.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to pass on the information as well as your Twitter account that you specified.
Yeah, at Gary CPR. John knows all about it. I talked to him many times.
Yeah, okay.
At Gary CPR, Bill 105 is up there. And all the information. You have a good one, buddy. Well, it's costing it's costing the taxpayer a fortune. It's making everybody sick too, mentally and physically, which increases drug use and abuse. You know, and so many left with brain damage. And parents are killing their own children. I know parents that have committed suicide after they found out they killed their own child. Oxygen deprivation, right? And the doctors told them to pound on their chest. Anyway, you have a great day, and just pass the information around.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate the information.
It's just plain common sense, right?
Again, I'm happy to pass this along.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Okay, you too.